I know that you and I were just speaking about a paper that you just wrote actually on, the 8 key steps to implementing a better preventative maintenance program. Could you tell us a little bit more about what that is?
People have different definitions. We define it as all the actions to find a failure early, meaning we can clean equipment, we can keep it cool, etc. Right? We can balance, we can align. That's what we call PM. What we don't call PM is the corrective planned and scheduled, because we don't want the overlap in definitions. The first thing I think what people miss a little bit in PMs is that we used to go ahead and we dive into saying, okay, let's just start documenting PMs. We don't do any project management stuff like setting up, what's the scope of PM? Do you need to include, do you want operators to do PMs? Do we include the lubrication? And the biggest piece of that is get management on board, actually. That is the hardest part. We don't actually ground the PM implementation with a good project plan, telling management what is it going to cost, what am I going to get out of it. The next one is to document the PM, and there's several steps in there, so I'm kind of lumping one and all. Typically for most of us is to review the PMs. We need to review the current PMs we have. So saying, okay, what is it we have? What is it we should have, basically? The next step that was often missed too is to systematize. So when we talk about, like you, Ryan, you do CMMS softwares and asset management, offer a lot of great technology tools. In my experience, people say, let's just improve the PM, so we put it all in SAP. And I'm saying, okay, or Maxima, whatever you have, right? But the problem is, okay, you're going to put your vibration routes in SAP. It's like, no, we have a separate software for that. But we need to systematize and think about how do we actually get the documentation that we have now created that's beautiful and simplified and effective. How do we actually get it out to the people in an effective way? And by the way, don't we need to train people, and don't we do something around management to teach them how to manage our new documentation? It's a lot of assumptions there, right? So that's the third step. And then I think the fourth and last step is just relentless follow-up, making sure these PMs being done. So that's a short version of those all eight steps that we were talking about.
Yeah, no, I love it. And what I heard, if I were to summarize that, one, there's a cost to doing PMs. Like, theory is great, but when you actually start looking at the cost, you have to weigh the benefits versus the cost. I hear having a centralized system is extremely important. You can't be doing PMs in 17 different places, because when you try to draw conclusions off of all these PMs, you have to be able to report on it in a holistic view. And then the last piece here is relentless follow-up.